We're rich! We're rich! Diamond! Ah!
A lot of people out there cheat on their Minecraft speedruns, and it's always really funny to watch. So here are some of the most hilarious fake Minecraft speedruns I could find. They start off by spawning in a village, which by itself is very rare, but to spawn where you're outside a blacksmith is like just even rarer. Even after all of this chance of spawning there, on top of that, the chest was stacked with obsidian, which was just enough to make a portal. And of course there was just a flint and steel and full iron armor. I think at this point it's safe to say this is a very bad attempt at fake speedrunning, but let's just see where this goes. They then begin to get some wood and make a portal after only being 35 seconds into the run. And then the runner makes a massive mistake that this time is very obvious. As they enter the portal, the video is cut. The runner obviously changed where they spawned so that it was inside the fortress and to where they actually already knew. They then kill some blazers, and I think they might have actually died because the video then cuts again to where the things in their inventory is different and their hotbar is in different places. Also, their hearts regenerated, which obviously shows something was cut. They then freeze in place, and watch if you can see what happens. Yep, suddenly their blaze rods increased to 16, which means they can now leave the nether for some reason. When they go through, they are now in a cave instead of the village they started in, and this could just happen in normal Minecraft. I believe it's a glitch, but I'm guessing this is where they traveled from before to get into the fortress. They then mine through a couple walls, and there is a slight cut to when they're a few blocks away from the stronghold. Also, if you look at their hotbar, they suddenly have some ender pearls. So let's just watch that again. As you can see, the ender pearls just magically appear in their inventory, and they now have everything to go to the end. Then the runner makes all of the eyes of ender, goes into the end, and does what every other speedrunner does. Just flies around, gets all the crystals, and kills the ender dragon. You know, just a normal thing. The next guy spawns in a desert, and of course there is a sand temple nearby. Then they run over and of course looks down, and there is just a hole straight down to where the chests are. I think they probably went into creative and put some stuff in the chests and forgot to put the block back, because that never happens. Then they go down, and of course the chests are filled with some insane stuff. Like, they managed to get 17 blocks of obsidian, 32 enchanted golden apples, and much more, which is just unheard of. And at this point it's just really funny because like there's no chance anyone could ever have any of that in a sand temple. And then this run gets even worse. The runner makes a nether portal and realizes they actually have no flint and steel. So what do? Yep, they just go into creative and just get their own flint and steel. After doing that already, they stay in creative and then say they're going to the bathroom. Then the video goes black for a few seconds and it comes back and they're already in the stronghold with all the eyes of ender needed. Then once in the end, the runner switches to survival and then realizes they're probably not going to kill it in survival. So they go back to creative, give themselves like strength 1000 and manage to kill it in a few hits. Honestly, I think this might be really close to the world record. The next runner spawns into a village, which again is pretty rare. And then they run into a house and find... Okay, well, this isn't very legit, is it? Like, they literally have a plane. Alright, that's enough. On this next run, it starts off in a village, which is pretty common until you see what happens next. The runner opens what would usually be a food chest and manages to get a ton of diamonds and other stuff that definitely wouldn't usually be there. It's just hilarious how people actually think this is how you speedrun. The runner then gets wood normally and then goes into the church, which would usually be very bad in a speedrun as there's basically nothing in there that you could use. But for some reason decides to mine down under the brewing stand and, yep, managed to find an insane amount of stuff that of course confirms this run is fake. But let's just carry on and see how this ends. The runner then goes into the nether using the 64 obsidian from one of the chests, and as soon as they get to the nether, they spot a nether fortress. I'm not sure if this was deliberate or not because I couldn't actually see the cut in the video from the village, but it was certainly very lucky. The runner gets to the fortress and manages to find a blaze spawner and kills some of the blazers. They only managed to get one blaze rod, but decide to stand still and suddenly get 64. I'm pretty sure they just cut the video and went into creative, or just got their friend to give them the blaze rods while they were recording, and that's how they got them. But of course it shows that it's even more fake. After finishing with the fortress, the runner finds only one piglin and decides to trade with it, and then runs away after putting it in a hole. They run into a tree and come back, and oh look, there's a ton of piglins and a load of ender pearls. I wonder how that got there. Once finished with this, the runner then makes another portal and manages to spawn in the stronghold, but this time there is a clear cut while going through the portal. I'm guessing they probably went into creative or something and located the stronghold and then just placed a fake portal there and then went through that, just so it would speed things up and make it look even more real rather than just cutting. The dragon fight is also obviously faked, but in a different way than you may think. The runner goes and stands next to the bedrock portal, and then the dragon suddenly dies, which was most likely killed by a friend or by themselves cutting the video and going into creative. The next guy spawns in, and it's obvious that he is a child, which makes this even more funnier.
There is a house. Let's go to that house.
As you can see, they are speedrunning on mobile. Two words that definitely should not go together at all. This world was obviously tampered with as well, because there's just a building here as soon as he spawns. And then he says he needs some pearls.
There are pearls in this speedrun right now.
And guess what? He gets some.
I found 100 pearls. Let's go.
The funniest thing happens next when the video is cut and he opens a chest pretending to be surprised that he found it.
What? I have everything I need.
Fair play to him, I guess. I was really convinced that it was actually real. He then builds an end portal with all the things he got from the chest, and then spends the next 5 minutes killing the ender dragon. And I'll give him credit for this, because this is the first person that I've actually seen kill the ender dragon legit. This time they spawn in and spawn right next to a chest, which obviously isn't actually in the normal game of Minecraft, but at least the stuff wasn't amazing. They then go down into a desert temple that was nearby, and okay, well, there's all the really good stuff. Honestly, if you're gonna make a fake speedrun, at least make it less obvious, because it's just hilariously faked. After getting all of this maxed gear, they still didn't even give themselves netherite tools for some reason. Like, I have no idea what they were thinking. Like, they even have an elytra and fireworks. Like, this is just too funny. After all of this, they run straight into a village that was nearby and go into one of the houses and end up finding a sign that says to mine under the grindstone. Underneath that grindstone there was another sign that tells them to go to the pillager tower. This definitely isn't a feature in the game, although it would help for speedrunning. Somehow they managed to run straight into the direction of the pillager tower, and then once they're inside there's another sign that says just to dig straight down under the sign. And then of course there's just an end portal straight under there. Then once in the end, the runner somehow has a god bow that can literally do over half the dragon's health in a hit. Like, I don't even know how to do this myself. Like, it's actually quite impressive.